Hey everybody, how's it going? B Temple back again, and today we're finally going to get a chance to finish the third part of what I like to call the Kiwi Trilogy. So we started off with part one, which was a comparison sort of opening, I guess you could call it, of a Menu B 2000 New Zealand 24-hour ration, and what we have here in front of us, a 2015 Menu B New Zealand 24-hour ration. So in part two, obviously, we went through the review of the ration from 2000, and for the most part, things were pretty bad, I guess. That's the best way to put it. There were a few sort of surprises. Things like the muesli and the chocolate were like sort of utterly perfect, which still seems kind of strange. But a few things were really good, and for the most part, though, it was a fairly disappointing ration, I suppose. So I got high hopes for this one here. It's from 2015, so hopefully everything's still in great shape and, tastes fresh and whatnot. So what we're going to do is obviously sort of open this again and figure out what items probably would make, I guess, the best breakfast, I suppose. So we'll start with breakfast and then obviously move on to lunch and dinner, or dinner and supper, whatever terms you want to use, depending on what part of the world you're in. But here we'd, call it dinner and supper. So yeah, I'll be back in 1 second with our breakfast all ready to go. Alright, so this is everything sort of laid out. It's going to be, I suppose, a somewhat similar breakfast compared to the 2000 ration that we had. Obviously these were both Menu Bs, but a lot of things have happened in the span of, 15 years. But some of the items are going to be the same. Obviously we've got ourselves a packet of muesli, which, aside from the color, appears to be the same type of packaging. And, we've got I guess a muesli bar, but it's, I believe, a different type. It certainly feels different. And we've got canned cheese instead of these sort of little packets of cheese. And we got some cabin bread instead of cream crackers. And it's weird, it feels like 2 of them. And we also have some peanuts and raisins. In the previous ration, there was just a packet of sultanas, and they weren't in very good shape. So hopefully all of this is good. And the 2 drinks we'll have for our breakfast will be a cup of tea and some chocolate drink. There's a whole lot of other items left. One of the particular items that we still have is a yeast extract, and I would think that there should be more than just the cabin bread, but there's not really anything else to kind of put the cheese or the yeast extract on. So maybe I'll find a way to sort of include this in one of the main meals, sort of use it as a bit of flavoring or something like that. But it's kind of strange that 2 little pieces of cabin bread are pretty much the only thing to put yeast extract and cheese on. But this is what it is. So what we'll do first, obviously, is open up our muesli and get that going. So it's a 100 gram packet again, as usual. And the ingredients say it's got rolled oats in it, milk powder, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, pineapple, and papaya. And sultanas as well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same composition as the previous one. And that looks exactly the same as the previous one. There's a lot of muesli here, makes a very large portion, and there's a lot of milk powder as well. There's no whitener. Coffee whitener came with I guess the tea and the coffee and whatnot, but I guess we really don't need it because there is actually milk powder in this, so that should work out pretty well. And I'm just sort of realizing that there's also no jam came with this this ration, so sort of nothing sweet to add to the muesli in case you really felt like you need it, unless you wanted maybe to put some of the sweetened condensed milk in there. But maybe we'll try that out. We'll leave that there just in case if we feel like we need it, but I didn't feel like we needed it the last time. So the next thing we'll do is probably get our drinks ready, and I'll go and get some... Actually, I don't think I'm going to use hot water for the chocolate drink. Sometimes I like hot, sometimes I like cold, but I think we'll use cold water for everything. So we got our glass for our tea and for our coffee. Our chocolate drink. I don't drink coffee. So we'll add our water to our muesli first. Don't need very much. Just enough to sort of hydrate things a little bit. We'll get our chocolate drink going next. And once again, this looks exactly like the same composition as the previous chocolate drink from the older ration. And we'll get our tea bag going. This is a, I guess, Porter's brand premium classic blend. So I don't know if it's somewhat similar to, say, like an English breakfast or something like that. And obviously I sort of just forgot that, yeah, I'm going to need hot water for the tea. So I'm going to have to go get some hot water from the Keurig, and I'll be back in 1 second. So we got the tea going, and let's just pour up a little bit of water for our chocolate drink. We won't need too much. And I know it's weird to use cold water, but this is the way I sort of prefer it. I know it makes it harder to mix, but and it really seems like this this New Zealand composition of chocolate drink doesn't take well to being mixed with cold water, because this looks exactly like the chocolate drink from the older ration, and that did not mix well. I just sort of chalked it up to it being old, but maybe it's just, you know, the particular way they made it, and this is sort of meant for hot water, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I guess we'll open up a few of our other items. Let's get our muesli bar opened up. So this is an apple, sultana, and berry. And the berry that they use in here is, let's see, black currant. Yeah, that seems to be the only berry that they have in here. Oh, and these are very similar to the, I guess, the cereal bars from the Australian CR1Ms. They got like almost a Fig Newton or maybe Nutri-Grain bar kind of look to them. So it's sort of like an outside sort of cake. Very, looks like hearty, lots of grains. And the filling smells really good too. So this looks like, you know, completely different from what the previous sort of cereal muesli bar would have been. Let's open up our cabin bread. Hopefully it's not just a packet of scraps and dust. It's not too bad. One seems to be in fairly good shape. So this looks sort of like basically a larger cream cracker, but maybe like a little bit drier. I know cabin bread's meant to be a little more sort of shelf stable, I suppose. We'll open up our peanuts and raisins. Those are perfectly fine. It's 35 grams, so it's not a huge portion of it, but, you know, you're going to get your protein and whatnot, and you're going to get your little sweetness from the raisins, so that should hopefully all sort of go together well. And we'll open up our cheese last. So this looks very similar to the Bega CR1M cheese from Australia, just this one happens to have a pull tab, which is always a good thing, makes things a lot easier. And yeah, that looks just perfectly similar to that. Let me give this a smell. Yeah, smells just like Bega cheese, so I don't know if it actually is, but anyway, we'll see if it tastes just like it. We don't really have a whole lot left to do aside from actually just trying the items. So the muesli's had a little more time now to sit and rehydrate. And it looks pretty good. So let's get a spoonful with hopefully a little bit of everything in there. Some pumpkin seeds and papaya and sultanas and whatnot. So as you can see, this is just a really hearty sort of muesli. And that's just fantastic. That I used to say the Danish muesli was probably the best of any ration I had. But now having had this and knowing that it's exactly the same as the older version of the muesli, that this is perfect. There's a nice bit of sweetness from the dried fruit. And the pumpkin seeds give it a nice sort of, I guess, little textural change, and you're going to get your protein and stuff obviously from that as well. And the dried milk powder hasn't gone bad. And the oats are still nice, and they're not quite crunchy, but they're not quite soft either. So I guess using cold water sometimes can help with that, depending on the sort of consistency and texture that you like out of something like muesli. I don't like it to be too mushy, so I don't use hot water. It could maybe be just a little tiny bit sweeter if you were someone who really liked it sweet. But for me, the little pieces of dried fruit are more than enough. So I don't think we're going to need our sweetened condensed milk, because I don't think it'll actually add anything to it. Now, let's give our tea a little bit of a stir. It's gotten very dark. So I don't know if this is going to be like a mild tea or not, but we'll give it a try, see if it's anything close to what the previous brand of tea was. The old ones were Bell brand. And that's a really nice sort of breakfast black tea. I don't add sugar, cream, nothing like that to my tea. It's probably what I would say a little bit stronger in flavor and a little bit more bitter, say, than the previous brand, the Bell brand. But maybe, you know, after 18 years, the Bell brand from the 2000 ration maybe might have had its flavor subdued a little bit. Who knows? But that's a fantastic breakfast tea. You don't need anything else for that. It's a great thing. If you're someone who doesn't like coffee but you like tea, that's a really fantastic tea. I'm sort of impressed by that. Let's give our muesli bar a try. It's rather dense. The outside cake part is dense, but I found that for the Australian CR1M, you know, cereal cookies or cereal bars, whatever they want to call them as well, they seemed hard, but once you bit into them, it was just more of a crunch than actually just sort of being dense. And that's really nice. It's like I said, very similar to the CR1M cereal bars. The outside edge is hard, but it's just more of a crunchy texture you break through, and the inside cake's got a nice sort of texture to it. That's you know, a little bit moist, I suppose. The inside filling, I'm not getting much blackberry flavor, but I am getting a good mix of the apple and the sultana. So, you know, neither one of them overpowers the other. Maybe if I had to say, I think maybe the raisin, you know, sultana kind of flavor is a little bit higher on a scale than the apple. Maybe like 60-40, that kind of thing. But that's a lovely sort of accompaniment to this breakfast. Let's give a few of our raisins and peanuts a try. They look good. I don't know if they're salt or not. The raisins don't look like they're salted, but we'll, I mean the peanuts don't look like they're salted. So we'll give them a try. Oh, that's some of the best, it's odd to say it, but that's some of the best raisins I've ever had in a ration. Still have a perfect amount of moisture in them. They're not dried out at all. They don't have that sort of weird preservative sort of taste, you know, sprayed on preservative like you would get in many military rations. So, you know, they seem like they're fresh. They seem like they just came out of a package kind of thing, you know. And the peanuts are great. They're not salted at all, but they taste perfectly fresh, and they're nice and roasted, and they really go well together with the raisins. So yeah, everything so far has been fantastic. Let's give our chocolate drink another stir, and then give it a taste. So yeah, I think I may have made a mistake this time around using cold water. This particular chocolate drink doesn't mix well with cold. So I'll know that for next time. And yeah, using cold water really subdues the flavor. So I don't know if I used hot water, if it would really bring the chocolate flavor out. But to me, I'm sort of just tasting mildly chocolate flavored water. So it's not good. So it's probably just my fault that it's tasting like that. If I used hot water, it would probably be good. So maybe for one of the other meals, dinner or supper, I'll try the other chocolate drink, because we did get 2 in the ration. I'll try the second chocolate drink just with some warm water, just to really see what it's truly like, because I'm probably not giving it, it's probably not performing to the best of its abilities, I suppose. Because yeah, it seems like it's even sort of separated. The water and the chocolate don't want to mix when the water's cold. Lastly, we've got our cabin bread and we got our cheese. Let's give a little taste of some of our cabin bread on its own first. And that tastes almost the same as a brand of cream crackers, Jacobs, which is, I know, a British brand. But we get Jacobs a lot here as well. It tastes just like a Jacobs cream cracker, which is a good thing. It's a really, really crunchy cracker. You know, you wouldn't call it dry, but it's really crispy. Sort of, it snaps really well. Let's try a little bit of cheese on a piece of this. Now, this is a really dense processed cheese. Now, it's a bit of a cold day here today, and try to store these things in sort of a cool area. So I don't know if it was a little warmer out, it would help things a bit. It's like that cheese doesn't want to spread at all. So let's give this a little try, see what it's like. See, I was never a fan of the bag of cheese in the Australian CR1Ms, and where I assume this is the same thing, I don't know, this one kind of tastes worse, actually. The flavor of this cheese does not go well with the cabin bread at all. It's, I don't know. I mean, it was produced in May of 2015. So, I mean, it is, what, a little over like three months and 3 years and a few months. So I don't know what the actual shelf life of this is. It should last fairly long, seeing it's in a can like this. But yeah, the taste just isn't pleasant with the crackers. It's really strong flavored processed cheese, and the flavor doesn't go well with the sort of cream cracker taste. Some jam would be fantastic with this. I know we have some yeast extract, but let's see if the yeast extract will go with it. Because our two main meals are creamy chicken and potatoes and Thai lamb curry, so I don't think yeast extract would kind of go well with either one of those. I mean, we could probably put it in with the instant noodles, but maybe that'll just ruin the noodles. So, for the sake of trying it, let's give our yeast extract a little go. This is obviously going to be Vegemite, or at least it should be Vegemite. Incredibly dark, as you can see. Vegemite is a pretty divisive kind of food. There's no gray area with it. You either really, really like it, or you really, really don't like it. And I don't know if that's too much. Probably is, now that I am spreading it around. I don't mind Vegemite, but I am one of those weird people who does actually fall into that gray area with it. Yeah, now I'm looking at this, I'm thinking I probably put a little bit too much on there. But yeah, let's give this a try. Oh, that's horrid. It's like someone filled my mouth with salt and beer and Worcestershire sauce. Oh, yeah, I put way too much on there. That's not good at all. Now, maybe this has gone bad, who knows? But, yeah. For some reason, that doesn't taste as good as any sort of other Vegemite I've had from any other ration. So yeah, there's something not right about that. Oh, of course that's stuck to it now. I suppose let's just try this little tiny bit with a small amount and see if that makes things any better. Yeah, even that small bit doesn't help matters much. That just really doesn't taste very good, which is kind of strange. It's a lot stronger than any yeast extract I've ever had from a CR1M. This is the first time, obviously, I've ever had one of these New Zealand 24-hour rations. That's, a newer version. So maybe the yeast extract they use is a little different. I don't know, but it really doesn't taste very good. So yeah, that's a little strange. So guys, aside from the yeast extract and the fact that I, messed up the chocolate drink by using cold water, everything's been fantastic for this ration. Although I suppose the cheese wasn't that great either. So yeah, we're looking at about maybe 2/3 of the items were great. The other third, not so much. That muesli is fantastic. That's the best muesli you can get in a ration. So if you ever happen to find yourself a New Zealand ration, you will certainly enjoy the the breakfast that you plan on making. And the cereal bar and the raisins and peanuts and the tea and the crackers themselves were wonderful. I just really wish they had some crackers, some jam to go along with the crackers. So guys, that was breakfast. We're going to move on to our dinner portion now when we get a chance, and we'll be back in a little bit. Alright guys, so this is our dinner sort of laid out for us. There's an awful lot of items in this ration. It's a huge 24-hour ration with a lot of varied kind of components. So this is what I feel is probably like, the best kind of mix, I suppose, for dinner. So we've got our main meal, our creamy chicken and potatoes. And for dessert, I suppose, we've got our milk chocolate bar, strawberry fruit grains, and some biscuits chocolate chip. And for, I suppose, a side, we've got some instant soup beef, which is the same as from our previous ration. And we got a drink, orange mango. We also got some black pepper in case the main needs it, and a piece of dental gum, which there's just one little tiny briquette of dental gum in this huge package. I don't know why they overpacked it like that. But anyway, the first thing we should do, I suppose, is get the main meal into some boiling water just to sort of heat it through. This is a nice 300-gram pouch, nice gusseted thing. But obviously we're going to pour it out in the tray here. But let's get this heated up. So I took the liberty while I was getting the boiling water to get some for our beef soup, and that's what we'll mix up first, I suppose. I remember last time I used a glass that was too small, and it was kind of hard to stir it up, so I made sure I had a bigger vessel this time. So this is just like a regular kind of instant soup mix. And these pouches are easy to make a mess with. That's got a fantastic smell coming off of it, I have to say. Next we'll mix up our sports drink, orange mango. It actually says to only mix this with 200 mils of water. So I guess we'll give that a try. And this one's certainly crystallized. See, I don't know what to think about that. I don't know if that's going to actually dissolve with cold water, but I guess we'll give it a try. Yeah, I don't have high hopes for this. I'm just going to let that sit for a little while longer. And hopefully the all this sediment will dissolve a little bit better. And then we'll go back to it. Now, what else are we going to open up? While we're waiting for our main to heat, let's just get everything else out. Now, for the previous ration, the one from 2000, I was utterly amazed at how good a quality the chocolate appeared to be, where it looked perfect upon opening it, and it was, 18 years old. So I really hope that a 3-year-old chocolate bar would look just as good, or better. And here we have it. I don't know how the Kiwis do it, but this is a perfect chocolate bar. It smells utterly perfect. That should be fantastic. I guess we'll find out. Next we'll open up our strawberry fruit grains. We had tropical fruit grains in the previous ration, and they were okay, especially given that they were, 18 years old. And it's the same exact composition. Little squares of fruit jelly. And let's get our chocolate chip biscuits opened up. I'm not sure how many are in here. Okay, it's 2. They were a little hard to gauge. These look like they're in pretty good shape. They look really nice, actually. They look almost like they're a little bit more of like a shortbread kind of mix, as opposed to like, say, like a Chips Ahoy, standard sort of grocery store chocolate chip cookie. I guess the batter of them, I suppose, looks maybe like it's got a little bit more of a shortbread kind of mix to it, and that's certainly not going to be a negative thing. They should be very, very good. And we won't open up our black pepper. I don't think we'll need it, but if we do need it, obviously we'll open it then. But yeah, we'll go and check, see if our main is ready, and then we'll start giving everything a try. So here we have our creamy chicken and potatoes. I think it's been in there long enough. I guess we'll find out. So this has got like a creamy chicken stew kind of look to it. Almost like a chicken a la king kind of look. If anyone's ever seen one of my older reviews of a Slovenian 24-hour ration, there was like a chicken casserole, they called it. And this looks very similar to that. So we got lots of pieces of, obviously, large chunks of potatoes. We got peas, and we got carrots, and we got lots of white chicken meat. And we also do have mushrooms. So yeah, it's got a chicken a la king kind of thing going. It smells fantastic. And hopefully it tastes just as well. So I guess we'll give this a try first. So we'll try to get a little bit of everything in our first bite. Let you have a look. And that is incredibly tasty. The chicken's maybe like a little tiny bit dry, but it's not too bad. I mean, obviously with a creamy sauce like this, that sort of helps counteract that a bit. The potatoes still have a little bit of, I guess, give to them. They're not too mushy. The rest of the vegetables are the same thing. Like, you know, it doesn't taste like mush or feel like mush when you're eating it. And the flavor's pretty good, but as I'm someone who does like black pepper, I'm thinking that the black pepper will really make this even better. And now remember, this is 1 gram of black pepper, so that is a lot, but I'm also someone who likes a lot of black pepper. So let's put it all on there. I can already smell that from here. That's a really pungent black pepper. So let's give this a try, see what that does to it. Oh yeah, that really brings it to life. That takes this from an 8 to a 10. This really is that good of a main meal. This is absolutely fantastic. You get a very huge portion, very hearty. It's not like some of the meat dishes where it's all like just chunks of fat and all that kind of stuff. This is just nice, white meat chicken. Lots of veggies and a really sort of lovely flavored sauce. And this just really goes really well. Making a bit of a mess too. I'm really impressed by that. Now, let's give our other sort of hot item a try. This is our beef soup. You can see there's lots of herbs and stuff in there. It looks like maybe a few little pieces of dehydrated, maybe carrot or red pepper. Probably carrot, but I guess we'll find out. So yeah, let's give this a taste. That's lovely. That's like a really strong, vibrant beef stock kind of flavor. I can't really say anything bad about it. It's not too salty, and I think I may have actually used a little bit less than the 300 mils of hot water that I asked for. And yes, it is a little strong, but it's just a great beef flavor. You can't ask for anything better than that. So, if this was like a cold day or something like that, you got some, hearty chicken stew and then some beef soup. That's amazing. So yeah, this has been fantastic so far. Let's give our drink another mix. See if the sugars have dissolved a bit better. There's still a lot of sediment in there, but we'll give it a try. So remember, this is orange mango. It's not like a crazy sort of, fluorescent color or anything, so that's a good sign. Hopefully it's not like, too artificial, I guess. Yeah, that's really nice. I think the mango flavor is more prevalent than the orange, but yeah, there's really nothing wrong with it. I would have hoped, I suppose, that it mixed a little better, but we'll let that sit for even longer while we're doing the rest of the review. Maybe if we come back to it at the very end, it'll be hopefully closer to perfect, I suppose. But it's a really nice flavor. It's not too sweet. You can tell it's like a sports drink, so there's a bit of electrolytes in there. You get that sort of background kind of Gatorade, Powerade kind of taste. So yeah, let's move on to our more dessert items, I suppose. Let's try our fruit grains out. Like I said, these look very similar to the tropical fruit grains we had in our 2000 ration. And hopefully they taste a bit better. Oh, that's lovely. That's, imagine you've got one of those sort of compressed fruit bars, and then someone just took it and chopped it up in little tiny chunks. That's exactly what it tastes like. It's a nice, vibrant flavor. And you can really, really tell that, this is exactly what it's supposed to be. This is strawberry, I believe it was. I have the package thrown away now. I forgot already. But I'm pretty sure these are strawberry. It's got a really nice flavor. I guess lastly, guys, we'll move on to our two chocolate items. Let's give one of our chocolate chip biscuits a try. So as we can see, it's a nice light colored kind of cookie. Lots of chocolate chips. I can tell right away it's going to be really crumbly. So I'm going to try not to make too much of a mess. That is absolutely delicious. Oh my. That's a perfect chocolate chip shortbread cookie. It's kind of sad that there's only 2 of these here in the package. Now, if this came in like a big, huge pack, I'd probably sit down and eat them all, and that'd be a bad thing too. But this is amazing. This is like one of the best sort of side dessert kind of items I've ever actually had in a ration. And for it to be in perfect shape like this, and yeah, I mean, it's a little over 3 years old, and yeah, it's just fantastic. I literally couldn't ask for anything better than this. And lastly, we've got our utterly perfect New Zealand chocolate, which is something they seem to have really got the knack for. And that's just perfect. You can't ask for anything better than that. It hasn't been misshapen. It hasn't melted. It still got a really nice snap to it. So it's like a really good, solid milk chocolate. It's not, I wouldn't say it tastes like dairy milk. There's a particular brand of chocolate here called Jersey Milk by a company called Nielsen. I don't know if it's anywhere else. But that tastes just like a Jersey Milk bar. And that is fantastic. That's not going to last very long now. So guys, here's our one piece of dental gum. I assume it's meant to taste like peppermint or something like that, but I guess we'll just try it out for the sake of trying it out. And that was like just a really strong peppermint flavor. I don't know if they actually used, real peppermint oil in that. That's a really nice dental gum. It's too bad they literally only give you 2 little tiny briquettes for the whole 24-hour ration. I don't know why they wouldn't give more. Many countries put, anywhere from 8 to 10 pieces of gum in their rations. But, it is what it is. So, guys, this has been the dinner portion. There's not a whole lot of bad I can say about this, aside maybe from the, beverage-based powder not being quite perfect. But everything else was just amazingly tasty. And gives me a lot of hope, I suppose, for the final part of our review, which will be the supper portion, which we'll get to you in a little bit. All right, everybody, what we got here now is our supper. So we've got the last of our meals for this particular ration, and what we've got for our main is our Thai lamb curry. We're going to have some lemon lime drink, and we're going to try a chocolate drink, this time with warm water, just to see what the difference actually is. Got ourselves some beef-flavored noodles and some onion flakes. I'm going to assume that's kind of, what should go in the noodles. And for dessert, we've got ourselves a muesli bar, apple sultana berry, and our milk chocolate bar, this time with clinkers, which are sort of, I suppose they almost look a little bit like honeycomb toffee or something like that in different colors. This is what it looked like in the milk chocolate with clinkers bar I had from the 2000 ration. I don't know if they've sort of changed the composition since then, but I wouldn't think so. And then we've also got some boiled sweets just to see what kind of, I guess, fruit-flavored hard candy they're actually going to be. So the first thing we're going to do is get our Thai lamb curry into some boiling water and get that warmed up. We'll also get some warm water for our chocolate drink, some cold for our lemon lime sports drink, and we'll get some hot water for our noodles. So we'll be back in 1 second. All right, so we'll get our drinks going first, I suppose. Open up our chocolate drink, put it in our hot water. Now these usually open up with a bit of a mess, so I'm going to do this off camera so I don't make too much of a state. Yeah, I just lost like half of that in the process of opening it. These are filled too much, so there's absolutely no way of opening this sensibly without having part of it sort of spill out. So I'm sure I've got too much hot water now. And we'll get our lemon lime sports drink going. This one doesn't feel like it's caked as much as the orange mango did last time. So we'll see if it mixes a little better. Yeah, that looks like a little more fine of a powder. Give both of those a stir. There's a little bit of sediment, but it doesn't seem nearly as bad as the last one, so that's a bit of a good sign. Next, we'll get our noodles going. I've got a bowl here. Instant noodles beef flavor. You'll remember from the 2000 ration, they were prawn flavored, and they were absolutely horrible. But these are only a couple years old, so hopefully they've held up well. And they just look like a standard pack of ramen. With a little seasoning pouch. Certainly not on the same level as the Magoreng noodles from Australian CR1Ms, but hopefully they'll be okay. So we'll put that off to the side for a little bit. Let that sort of cook down a little bit, and then we'll drain off the water and add the seasoning and probably the onion flakes too, I suppose. we don't have a whole lot left to open, I guess. We'll open up our boiled sweets just to get a sense of what they actually are. We just got some sort of standard hard candy. We've got, what, 2 green, 2 blue, a yellow, and a red. So I'm going to assume lime, cherry, lemon, and maybe like a blue raspberry kind of flavor, I suppose. But we'll certainly see. Let's get our muesli bar opened up again. This should look exactly the same as the one we had for breakfast. And there it is. Looks just like it's supposed to. And let's just see if we were lucky enough to once again get a absolutely perfect chocolate bar. And there you have it. Just an absolutely perfect Ration chocolate bar. I don't know how the Kiwis do it, but they certainly have perfected a way on how to create a chocolate bar which keeps its look and shape and doesn't bloom easily. And yeah, there's a whole lot of food science going on in creating something like that. Just tear open our onion flakes to have a look at what they're like. So it actually is just dried onion. That's all it literally says, is just dehydrated onion flakes. There's 7 grams of them, so that is quite a lot. I'm going to think, though, by adding onion flakes in with a beef flavoring, it is actually going to mix pretty well. And these seem to be pretty good now, so let's get our seasoning packet in there. And I don't know if 7 grams of onion flakes is too much, but let's just chuck it all in there. And we'll give this a stir. Now I know some people are probably screaming and saying, oh no, you should leave the water in, but this is the sort of way I usually like to make noodles. Maybe these might be like I guess a little overpowered in their flavor, but I guess we'll find out. Next we'll get our main. That should be pretty well heated up now, and then we'll open it all up and give everything a try. So remember, this is Thai lamb curry, a nice 300 gram pouch. Seems like it's heated through pretty well. And that's a very fragrant smell coming through there. You can see it's a little oily. It's a little bit of fat separation there. But we've got some big, huge chunks of lamb, and I guess a very similar selection of vegetables compared to the, in comparison to the previous main meal, the creamy chicken and potatoes. So we've got big chunks of potatoes and carrots. We got green beans instead of peas. And then it's got this sort of, light colored, I guess, Thai, I'm going to assume coconut cream sauce, but let's just give the sauce a taste first just to see how it is. That's a lovely yellow curry with coconut milk. So yeah, this is a really nice sort of curry flavor. We'll, I guess, dig right in, I guess. We'll get a spoonful with a little bit of everything, if we could possibly get it all on there. There we go. Let's see how much mess we can make, I guess. But yeah, remember, this is Thai lamb curry. And a little bit of everything. That is delicious. There's a little bit of onion in there as well. You can pick up some of that. The lamb is pretty fatty in places, but for the most part, this just seems really, really hearty. It's a nice, like I said, yellow curry kind of sauce. It's not too heavy. But everything, the flavor just goes together so well. The coconut milk, it's very sort of subtle, background hint of that. But for the most part, this is just a lovely kind of creamy kind of meal. The 2 main meals in this ration have been absolutely fantastic. Let's cleanse the palate with some of our lemon lime drink. It's like I said about the previous one, the orange mango. It's just got that sort of standard Gatorade, Powerade kind of flavor to it. You can tell there's electrolytes in there, but it's really, really nice. It's not a crazy, overpowering kind of flavor. It's a little tiny bit bitter. It's a little acidic. And that's where I guess the lemon lime flavor is really coming through. So yeah, that's That's really, really good. Let's give our noodles a try next. It's had some time for the flavor to sort of work its way through. It's a little dry. I think I probably could have left a little bit more water in there. Let's take a nice big spoonful and give this a try. Wow. It's not as good as mee goreng noodles, but I tell you, that's a close second. Having those dehydrated onion flakes in there really, really brings that flavor out. So you're getting that nice sort of beef stock kind of flavor, obviously, on top of it. And then, you know, nothing sort of tastes any better than some beef and onions. So this is fantastic. Those two main items together are great. I mean, they don't go perfectly together. I mean, curry and beef noodles is not exactly perfect, but I tell you, this is a great overall meal so far. Don't really have a whole lot left, I guess. Just our dessert. We'll try our sultana muesli bar again, apple, sultana, and berry, just to see if there's any difference between this and the other one. But I don't suspect there will be. Same as before, nice little crunch on the outside of the biscuit, but the inside is still perfectly, you know, nice and soft. And like before, the flavor is more of a raisin sultana flavor than anything else. You do pick up a little hint of the apple, but you're not really getting a whole lot of berry. And according to the ingredients, like last time, it was I think black currant. You don't really get much black currant flavor out of it. So not to say that's a bad thing, that this tastes mostly like sultana, but you know, it'd be nice if you can get a little more kick from that blackberry, that nice tartness. But anyway, moving on. We got two things left. We got our boiled sweets and we got our chocolate. And obviously I'm going to have to go to the chocolate next. This is something I'm really looking forward to. So yeah, remember, this is milk chocolate with clinkers. And like always, that is just absolutely perfect. Give you a nice little cross section there of the clinker part, I guess. It's sort of, you know, honeycomb kind of toffee, just in different colors. It's like beige cream kind of color, and there's also some pinkish ones in there. I don't know if that makes a variation on flavor. I don't seem to get a variation on flavor. It's just sort of a more of a textural kind of thing. But yeah, that's some of the best ration chocolate you can get right there. Moving on with our chocolate fix, let's try some of our chocolate drink, this time with warm water. I lost about a third of the chocolate drink mix in the process of opening it, so this probably might not go well because it's probably a little too, I guess, a little too weak, but we'll see. Yeah, I think that's the way to go, obviously, with this one for a chocolate drink, is to go with hot. You know, it's a little subdued, I guess. The chocolate flavor is not particularly great in that, but it is obviously better with the hot water. I think it's meant for the hot water. Most chocolate drinks would be meant for hot water. I just usually mix it up with cold most of the time because I find I do like the flavor a little bit more. But for some particular reason, this one doesn't take well to cold water. But I'm sure that would be lovely if I had less water and the actual whole packet of chocolate drink mix, but such as it is. What we have left is just our boiled sweets. So I guess we'll give a couple of them a try. I'm interested to see what this blue one is sort of all about. I'm going to assume it's blue raspberry flavor, but I guess we'll find out now in a second. Yeah, that's weird. It's got some sort of flavor. It's like a little bit of like lemonade flavor, a little bit of berry mixed in together, but also I'm getting like a really sort of overpowering kind of soapy kind of flavor, which you don't want your boiled candy to taste like soap. So that's like probably the one negative that I have right now about this. I don't know if any of the other ones are different. I mean, I know that should probably be lemon and that should probably be cherry, but we'll give the green one a try just to see. Maybe it could be apple or lime. I don't know. Yeah, that was not very good either. So I guess the one negative for this whole entire meal would be the boiled sweets. The flavor just does not come across well at all. Yes, it's sweet, but the green one as well had that kind of just soapy kind of flavor to it, which, yeah, that's not pleasant in any way, shape, or form when it comes to a boiled sweet, to have a soapy kind of flavor. But anyway, guys, this has been the last part of the last meal of the review of our 2015 Menu B New Zealand 24-hour ration. Overall, aside from a couple items here and there, this has been an absolutely fantastic ration. I don't know if I'd put it right at the top, if I had to like pick a top 5, but I think this may have squeaked its way into the top 5 now. So one of the rations that had previously been in my top 5, I think is going to have to drop down out of the running, because overall the mains in this are fantastic. The breakfast mains are fantastic. The noodles, pretty much all the sides. Really, the only thing I wasn't a huge fan of was the cheese and just the general lack of something like a jam that would have went with the crackers. And the yeast extract was absolutely horrible. I could normally get by with a little bit of it, but even a small amount of it seemed to be just absolutely horrid. So I don't know if it had gone bad, although I can't really see something like that going bad easily. But anyway, you know, for the most part, this was absolutely fantastic, as I like to say a lot. So this ends our New Zealand Ration Trilogy. We had our unboxing and then our 2000 Ration review, and now this 2015 one. So we're finally moving away from that. I think next is going to be a bit of a smaller review. I finally have, I guess, acquired several of the MRE pizzas. So I'm going to try for my next review to maybe prepare them in a few different ways. Maybe, you know, put one in the oven, you know, cook one on the oven top, on the stove, you know, in a pan. Maybe try one on its own. We'll see, but I think I'm going to go that way for my next review. So until that time comes, guys, thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a good one.